So if you watch the English version of Dragon Ball Super, you will remember that when they got to the Copy Vegeta arc, they actually brought Brian Drummond back to play Copy Vegeta, which for the fans of the show that have been around since the beginning will remember as the original voice of the English Vegeta. It was a very funny moment and a special moment as both of the two Vegetas got together and it was a direct comparison. It was a fun moment, an Easter egg to old-time fans. And some people probably question, why didn't they bring back one of the first two Gokus to do Goku Black? They sure had to have at least talked about it, right? It turns out they did. And it turns out it was blocked by somebody you know. So I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to run this story or not because the allegations that I received are based on a conversation between two of the Canadian actors from Ocean, but I believe that it's credible. I talked to a very trusted guy who knows the person who sent me this information, and I think it's worth discussing because a lot of it can be confirmed. So it leads me to believe that this is probably pretty true. I think it's pretty despicable that this was blocked, and it was because of ego. That ego I'm talking about is Sean Schemmel. So before we get started with this story, if you want to support the channel, check out my Teespring store. You'll find a link in the description. You'll find search such as this one, a Soye story. All right, so I'm going to go over what we know and what I was told. So one of the biggest things that we know as far as Sean Schemmel, his ego, and his ownership of Goku. So there was a video posted. I have it right here. I don't want to play it because of copyright. I don't know if this guy would be cool with it, and I don't feel like going through the issues with it. So I'm going to link the video in the description. In the video, he was asked at a panel, what are your thoughts on Team 4-Star? And he gave a kind of a weird response, basically saying he doesn't think it's fair use, which I think it totally is fair use. They don't make any money off of it. And as far as I know, Funimation sanctions it. Their main problems come from Toei. But in it, he pretty much talks about how he feels ownership of the character and that he's so attached to it. And there's a lot to back this up. I'm going to go over the Kamea-Con stuff as well with him and Peter Kelamis. But this is what I was told by my source. There was an incident where Sean turned up and spotted Masako X. It was very awkward, and Sean then basically threw a massive fit because he was there. Now, you may know that Masako X is the voice of Goku Gohan for Team 4-Star and Sean's feelings, and that comes from this video that I'm showing you right here. He basically says, you know, they need to be shut down. Sean talks about how he studied fair use, basically trying to bring it upon himself to help take down Team 4-Star. That's what I got from the video that I watched. And like I said, you can watch it for yourself. I will link it in the description. He says, so apparently Sabat wanted to have a table downstairs at the con. This is at Kamea-Con 1, by the way, not the one that just recently happened, which I'm going to talk about that as well. But basically, Sean was stuck by himself at Kamea-Con 1 upstairs, and it looks like he was seated around Masako X. That's not very clear. But Sabat was downstairs with all of his buddies. He wanted to be by his friends. And apparently Sean was throwing a big fit, and he was saying in front of his fans that he wanted to, I want to cut my wrists or something like that. Kind of weird and strange, but not a big deal. The main thing to get out of that is his resentment towards Team 4-Star and the guy Lawrence who plays Masako X. So we know there's some resentment with Masako X. However, there's also some more interesting stuff. So apparently he was only at Kamea-Con 1 for 1 day, and he was booked for 3. Now that's maybe not as much of a big deal as some of you might say in the comments, but apparently he didn't show up to Kamea-Con 2, and I've covered that, and I know a lot of other people have. But it turns out, if you think about it, according to my source, it might not be just because Vic was there. It might be because Team 4-Star was also there as guests. And he believes that pretty strongly. There's a history of him wanting to be the only Goku, and showing a lot of jealousy of that. There's another story from Kamehacon 1 that I've talked about before, but I'm going to bring it up as a refresher again right here. So during the original Kamehacon, the very first one back in 2018, something was going on with Peter Kelamis. He apparently couldn't go anymore. And there was a lot of questioning, was it Sean Schemmel that was responsible? And the statement given by Peter here really kind of sums up that it was. So let me read his statement. It says, on February 23rd, 2018, Kamehacon announced that I would not be attending the 2018 Kamehacon in Irving, Texas. I feel I need to clarify a few things about the cancellation that my fans deserve to know, as many have expressed concerns about my well-being. To be clear, Kamehacon canceled my appearance. I did not cancel my attendance due to work, availability, illness, or any other reason. I was and am still available for the dates of the Kamehacon 2018. I am extremely disappointed with the organizers' decision and have conveyed my thoughts to them directly. I will not and cannot go into details of the contract I have with them, but I will state that it is legally binding. I can, however, give my opinions as to why my attendance was canceled. It has been confirmed to me through multiple sources that a fellow actor is directly responsible for my cancellation. I have considered discussing the situation directly with the person in question, but that is difficult because the person has gone so far as to block me on Twitter. The person responsible for canceling my attendance has never met me, nor have I met them. But they were fully aware of my attendance at Kamehacon and took deliberate actions to deny me and the fans of Dragon Ball Z the ability to connect in person. To this person I say, I know what you did, and so do a lot of other people. As my mother used to say, the truth always comes out. To all of those attending Kamehacon, I hope you have a great time celebrating this amazing franchise. I am very proud to be part of its cherished history, and I sincerely regret that I will not be able to attend. I will miss meeting you all, and I hope I get a chance to in the future. For updates, please visit my website. Thanks, Dragon Ball Z fans. You are the best. Sincerely, Peter Kelamis, Goku. And here is the real piece of evidence. P.S. And I did pronounce Kaioken correctly. So, here's the thing. Sean actually responds to this and says, I have no power to ban anyone and never have. Conventions make their own business decisions regarding booking guests. What makes you think it's okay to use my likeness in this manner? Oh yeah, the new S rules for etiquette on Twitter. I forgot. And then someone says, do you deny being the person Kelamis is referring to, or are you just technically not the one who removed him? It's pretty clear from Peter's statement that Sean got him blocked. Now, this did end up getting worked out and Peter got to go, but it was a big deal. Sean really kind of made this an issue, and I think this really makes my point solid. The dude he has like an ownership of the character in his eyes. It's been shown with Team 4-Star. It's been shown with Peter. Peter had no idea he had this kind of resentment. Peter actually seems like a good guy, and that's what I was told by the person when I talked to him, that he's a good dude. So, I really wanted to lay down those points, and I'm sorry it took so long to get here, but according to my source, he had a conversation with Peter Kelamis. And they talked about Brian Drummond and how he had played Copy Vegeta. And he asked him, did they ever ask you to play Goku Black? He gave this response. A certain someone, and he didn't mention any names, refused the idea. Is that apparently, the conversation got kind of dark there, the atmosphere got kind of dark, and the source cracked a joke, and then they continued having, a good time and continued having a normal conversation. Now, I believe that this is true. And if you go over the history that I nailed down there for you, there's a lot to back up that this claim is true. Why wouldn't they do this? Dragon Ball Super is super behind the Japanese version. For me, and I'm sure just about everybody, we all watched the Japanese version. There's not a lot of reason to go and watch the dub unless you're just a hardcore dub fan, and I'm sure that a lot of people are. But for the most part, I think that, this is just being done for the Blu-rays to have dual release. People will watch them then. But as far as going back and watching episodes, I always watch it in Japanese. Now, I did go back and watch the Copy Vegeta episode because that's cool. They actually brought back the original Vegeta, and they have Chris Sabat doing it. This is a showdown. This is cool. So they had an idea. Why don't we bring back one of the older Gokus? And how cool would that have been to have Peter Kelamis doing Goku Black against Sean Schemmel for that whole arc? It would have had big ratings. It really would have, because everybody would have went back and watched it. Everybody, even though we'd already had seen it. But the ego of Sean Schemmel and that entire ordeal from Kamehakon and his resentment towards Mazako X really kind of lands a lot of credibility to this. Now, they'll never come out and admit it. This will never be confirmed by anybody. But given his crappy behavior, his ego, his childish behavior with all of these other actors, I think this is true. And this could have been something special. And it's just another example of these voice actors going against fans and what they want and putting themselves first. That would have been a real treat. That would have been something very special for English fans, and it was ruined so that Sean Schemmel could come do his British Goku Black. Now, I did watch the dubbed version, and I prefer the Japanese version, of course. I do think Sean did a good job during that arc. He did a good job with Goku Black, despite doing the weird British thing. He did okay. However, I think that we could have really had something special that would have stood apart from the Japanese version and bid something for longtime fans. And that got destroyed by the ego of Sean Schemmel. Anyway, let me know what you think about this news. I was really hesitant to run this for a while, but I decided people do deserve to know. And I kind of, after doing the research I've done on this, I do believe that this is sincerely true. So it's up to you where you take with this. I'm just letting you guys know. Leave me your comments. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Make sure you still subscribe. Check out the links in the description. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
K